All right, everybody, episode number 300 for Unlocking Your Inner Strength. Been looking forward to this one. Next couple weeks leading up to the Panda are going to be fasting focused on this show. Before I get to that, and what I want to cover for you today, we had a great weekend. We went looking at cars Friday night. My parents had the kids. So Devin and I went over to Andrew Tina's place, and he did a great job. Then we went out to a brewery, had dinner. A lot of activity this weekend. Had a great workout Friday morning. Saturday morning, great workout. Me and Devin went for an intense hike. I wore my 80-pound vest. Then we went rock climbing. Then yesterday, played basketball at 6:30, and then we went ice skating. So a lot of cool stuff this weekend. Really good. Very physically active this past weekend. And feel great. Joints feel great. Everything feels great. I want to explain to you guys how fasting works. I used to do the 16-8 protocol when I first started. That was what I'd learned and what I was exposed to. And I dabbled with one meal a day. I would do that like once a week. And I wouldn't do that every week, but to me that was intense at that point, right? Coming at it from the angle I came at it from. And then 3 years ago, I started diving back into the research and saying, okay, I should be maybe doing longer fasts. Something in my gut was telling me that you need to start exploring with these longer fasts. And besides a few people online, nobody was doing that. It wasn't like I could ask somebody, hey, what's it like when you do a 48-hour fast? Because nobody was out of their mind enough to do that. So I started dabbling in that, and that's become the Panda, the big part of it. And we got Panda Level 2 coming out as well soon, only for people that did Panda Level 1. But I want to break down for you guys how fasting works, because a lot of people will tell me that they're doing fasting, and I say, what are you doing? I'm doing 14 hours, then I'm doing 16 hours. Now, depending on what your goal is, that is better than eating 3-4 times a day or eating throughout the whole day. Because once we eat, it takes 6 hours to re-enter a fasted state. 6 hours. Most people are hardly ever in a fasted state. So before we go into what happens within the body, I'm going to try to keep it as simple as I can for you guys. But I do believe that if you understand how something's working, your brain can make many more connections and thus maybe form better habits around it. So if you look at metabolism, you're basically going to have insulin dominant or glucagon dominant. If insulin's high, glucagon's low. If insulin's low, glucagon's high. You need glucagon to be high to burn body fat. So that was something I learned way back with bodybuilding, right? Glucagon's going to keep blood sugar from going too low. Insulin's going to keep the blood sugar from going too high. That's the way it works. Insulin is a storage hormone. A storage hormone signals the body to store. Insulin is really the umbrella that all the fasting stuff falls under. Another way you can think about metabolism is fasted or fed state. Fasted or fed. Now, most people that come to me for fasting, they want two things primarily. The first, majority of what people are looking for when they first start is weight loss. And right up there with that, and one of the things they really grow to love, is more energy. So your body goes through this process, and you cannot achieve this process when you're doing a 16-hour fast. So you're kind of spinning your wheels. And people say, I tried it, it didn't work. That's not real fasting, in my opinion. That's time-restricted eating. Fasting is longer periods of time. So we have blood glucose. Once that drops below a certain level, where insulin wants to keep that within a certain range, so on the top end, glucagon wants to keep that on a certain range on the bottom end. So let's say you eat a meal, an hour later, you go out and exercise, which I don't recommend people do because you're working two different parts of your nervous system. You're in sympathetic state or you're trying to digest, not good. Which I believe you should always work out in a fasted state, whatever it is you're doing. When that drops, your body will start tapping into the energy reserves known as glycogen. So you have glycogen within your muscle and within your liver. Let's say you have 400 to 500 grams of glycogen within the muscle and 100 grams in your liver. Now, what glycogen is, it's when carbohydrate, so remember, the carbohydrate combines with water. They form these molecules, these energy molecules that can be stored within the muscles and within the liver. Your body will start to release glycogen. So when people do body comps at Newell Strength, they'll say, well, how did my muscle go up a pound this week or 2 pounds? It's usually glycogen stores, or when it shows that it drops. It is in your muscle. It'll show up as muscle tissue, but it's not muscle fiber. So make that delineation. To really tap into body fat, we got to start emptying out glycogen stores. If you're doing intense exercise, even if you're fully stocked and you're a well-trained athlete, you go 90 minutes to 120 minutes, and that's on the extreme end before you start depleting glycogen. Then your body will start going after liver glycogen, but we need to get those things lower. That goes hand in neck. That can't happen if insulin is high. Again, insulin is alongside of all of these, if that makes sense, which hopefully it does. Get a sip of water here. Excuse me. Next thing that happens, you go through gluconeogenesis. So gluconeogenesis, what's going on there is your body will start converting proteins to glucose to use as energy. And I'm not talking about people, I'm going to lose muscle when I fast. No, fasting is incredibly protective with your muscular system and your muscles. Gluconeogenesis is really when your body will break down proteins like loose skin, stuff from skin. Your body has a lot of protein besides just in the muscles. And we want to start converting that. And that starts going down the path of autophagy. When we start getting into that, where your body is cleansing cells that are damaged and repairing them or excreting them from the body, clipping them off and getting rid of them. After glucogenesis, we go to ketosis. So everybody's heard about ketogenic diets and whatnot. Once that happens, your body is running off its stored body fat. And remember, body fat is really just fuel. Body fat is fuel. That's all it is. It's food. That's 95% of the reason we have body fat as a backup energy source. And something I teach in the Panda, to put it in a frame of reference for people, is if you had 10 pounds to lose of fat, which you would actually be pretty lean at that point. You have 10 pounds to lose of fat. That equates, each pound of fat stores about 3,500 units of calories, caloric units, right? Which is an energy source. You all hear the calories, and most people try to cut calories to lose. But again, they're bypassing this whole system. That's why it's not going to work. It never works, never will. It goes against brain science as far as how habits are formed as well. But that's kind of a different topic. Maybe I'll rip into that in episode 301, is the North American diet. Make a note of that. So then once you get into ketosis, your body's running off the body fat. But if you had 10 pounds of fat, that's 35,000 calories your body has to burn through to lose. If you're constantly eating, or insulin's constantly raised, or glycogen levels are up, again, I can tell you what your insulin level is like then if glycogen's never getting depleted. You're never going to tap into those 35,000 calories. That's where we got to get you if we want to lose weight. So this is all a very natural process for the body. This is the how the mechanisms work within the body. This is how the human body was designed to function. It is not designed to function by constantly eating. It is not designed to function by constantly eating. Only in very rare cases. I'm talking about if you're one of these gigantic strong men that has to weigh 400 pounds and has got to take in 10,000 calories a day. That is a different circumstance. I still would argue that they would benefit greatly from periods of fasting. Maybe you're only doing it once or twice a week, because then you get the slingshot effect and you get cycle diets, which I'll make note of as well to go over that with you guys leading up to the Panda. Cycle diet is something I learned a lot from. I learned how to apply it. You can apply that with fasting. So there's no end to the fasting programs that that can be created. But that's the way it works, guys. You got to tap all these energy reserves, right? And then you get into ketosis. You do not have to be in ketosis to lose fat, though. Even when I did my 4-day fast or my 10-day cleanse, I was not in ketosis until like the very last day. And I was dropping body fat like it was my job. But that wasn't my focus. It was trying to fast and abstain from food for certain periods of time. The body fat drop was just a side effect. So that's another thing that we can address. As far as if you go out and I got to cut the weight, go out and do the right things and follow the process, and the body fat will happen itself. So the goal shouldn't be, I got to lose 20 pounds. The goal should be, let me follow this process that's just been laid out day after day after day, and the 20 pounds will happen. That's a lot of the mindset work as well. But that's how it goes. So that is what I got for you guys today. We got some cool events coming up that I want to share with you guys. Breathing workshop and sound healing workshop. It's one and the same this Thursday at Newell Strength, Hillsborough, 8 p.m. So I'll be over there if anybody wants to come by. Going to have a nice little crew there. It's going to be going until about 9 o'clock. You will get high off the breathing I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to be doing breathing workshops throughout the year, every couple months, to teach different types of breathing. But this one is you're going to really be in an altered state of mind, and then listening to Yvonne's magic bowls. That's going to be pretty cool. So that's this Thursday. Monday night in Flemington, we got the How to Have the Healthiest Heart Around seminar with me and Dr. Andre Espinoza. That's 8 o'clock in Flemington. Then we got Rip Dad starting on March 7th. Panda Level 1 starting on March 14th. Spots are limited in both of those. Panda, I only have 10 spots for that because of the coaching that I give you, and we have a lot of clients doing it this time around, so it's capped at 10, but it's life-changing. It's a life-changing program. All right, guys, that's what I got for you today. Spread the word. Hopefully you like that. Hopefully you learned something new, and I'll catch you guys later.